Days after the Kurds of Iraq voted overwhelmingly for independence, one of their own who went on to become Mam Jalal, Kurdish for Uncle Jalal for the whole of Iraq, passed away. Jalal Talabani first became actively engaged in Kurdish politics as an early teen. He was the country's first president post-Saddam, a post that saw him going from supporting autonomy, a full-blown independence for the Kurds, to being the face of Iraqi unity. The Americans are said to have quietly murmured that he was in denial when it came to Iraq's sectarian problem. This was said without a hint of the irony at the role that their de-Baathification policy had to play, or without recognizing that by having Saddam tried only for crimes against the Shia, they robbed the Kurds of forever seeing justice done. Indeed, the Americans have often made much of Taliban's notorious flip-flopping. He famously switched sides in the 8-year-long Iraq-Iran war. Yet they shouldn't hold this against him, and certainly not in death. Not when their illegal Iraqi war of aggression to topple the one-time darling of the West remains the epitome of unfair weather friendship. Yet being a Sunni Muslim Kurd who also happened to be the first non-Arab to assume the presidency, Talabani understood a thing or two about the sectarian makeup of his country. Indeed, he seemed to predict the future. Around a decade ago, he went on record as saying that sectarianism wasn't the problem, but rather influxes of foreign terrorists like Al-Qaeda, which of course never had a presence inside Iraq prior to the US-UK military intervention. He recommended that the Americans arm all ethnic militia groups. Yet Talabani appeared to have a deeply pragmatic side, not only in his approach to sitting down with former enemies once there was peace, something else he shared with the Americans, but also in his approach to independence for the Kurds. Back in 2005, the latter held an informal referendum on this. 98% voted for sovereignty. At the time, Talabani was brutally honest when he said that this was an impossible dream. Possibly Iran, Turkey and Syria could object peacefully by simply sealing their borders. This would mean a slow and painful death for the Kurds. Or they could attack Iraq in order to send a strong warning to their own respective Kurdish populations. Nevertheless, it seems today that the best way for Iraqis to commemorate Mam Jalal would be to open formal negotiations with Baghdad for an independent Kurdistan, and that regional players like Turkey will have to just get over it. This is not a deliberate oversimplification of a complex issue, but it is recognition of one of the biggest paradoxes of the global capitalist system that has naturally been set up to favor the elite. The more borderless the world becomes, the more those who have been forced to live in subjugation strive towards self-determination. The Iraqi Kurds are no exception. Published in Daily Times, October 9, 2017.